Hello, hi, how are you today? I'm Patricia. Welcome to my channel. Hey, I want to talk to you about feminine energy, like just that, feminine energy and how we are using it to heal. So, my channel is about ascension, twin flames, and getting you healed. So, let's get into it. So, this energy, I'm going to say it like this: since last fall, this has been like a hard push on the feminine to get her done. And by getting her done, what I mean is get you healed, get you elevated, get your vibe high, get the things back that belong to you, which include things like health and stuff like that. So maybe you've seen some of my videos that talk about women's changes in ascension. It's multiple, okay? We think of things like just your female hormones. It's your digestion, it's your breathing, it's your heart, it's your love life, it's your job life, it's, your own awareness of self. But in this particular energy, this is to help you get aspects of yourself kind of over that hump if you have found certain things to be an obstacle. So let me give you an example. For the past 2 months, I have had these terrible pains up and down my legs. It would switch sides. It would be in the ankles, then it would be in the hips, then it would be on the other side in the hip, then it would be my knee. And there's a couple of things going on there. Now, being a prototyper, I am well aware that as a Blu-ray twin flame, part of my task here is to prototype. What that means is I kind of get put through my paces. I get the real ick and yet get guidance on how to get through it. Now, this is an energetic get through it, which also includes some physical things like nutrition or fasting or supplements or movements. It especially includes special breath work to open the channels in various areas because your channels just aren't here or, you know, just where you breathe. Channels have to open in deep parts of you. So this is a part of what I prototype. It's like creating pathways within and outside you because your light body envelops you. So back to the aches and the pains, right? How many of you have aches and pains that seem unexplainable? Symptoms that seem unexplainable? Or symptoms sometimes where you kind of get like a word that goes with it, like lung cancer. I mean, scary stuff sometimes, right? Well, with this, what I was getting was remnants of polio. Oh my goodness. Now I've had my shots. I have had like things that back in the day, when I was a baby, people didn't really question it. Now here is the paradox. Even if as we've got some of this masculine mentality nipping at our heels, like, do you need this? Do you not need it? Your soul is saying, let's just get you healed. Okay. Let's just get you to the point where that is not a concern as you come into your union. What a concept, right? Because is one of you supposed to be sick while the other one's like footloose and fancy free? I mean, come on. And let me just say this, while I am talking about the feminine, and it does primarily mean women, okay? Men get their fair share of stuff. Okay, but we're not on that topic. I just want to reassure you, it is not lopsided. It seems lopsided, but it's not. Okay, there are stuff, but it's different stuff. Now, I have these remnants of polio and I could feel it. And I was wrapping my ankles in an ace bandage. I was I have this big massage machine, running it up and down like, you're buffing a car and you're like, God, get out of there. I just need to move. I just need to walk today. What in God's name do I have to do? Is this taking an act of God? Actually, now that you mention it, it takes an act of God, yes. And by that, I mean, it takes an act of your higher self when you cooperate. It's kind of like you're meeting each other halfway. Can you rise up and put a little skin into the effort? Can you make an effort? Yes, you can, and I make it easy for you to do that. Now, this is going on for 2 months, right? And meanwhile, I'm thinking, oh my God, some of this stuff runs in the family. Things like flat feet, ankle issues. How many of you have sprained an ankle? Did you actually get proper care? So there's injuries, knees, sport injuries, right? I've been skiing. I'd always land on my feminine side and like who knows how messed up the hip is, right? I've had it x-rayed and the bones are good. There's a little tilt. Is it livable? It's livable. Do I want to live with that forever? No. Now, years ago, I had this sensation on my spine, which was fabulous. And it was like someone zipped up my vertebrae and they all went tick, 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 tick. Were they perfectly aligned, except it was energetic. So the alignment was there. The physical parts, physical tissues take roughly in the ballpark of about 3 weeks, 3 weeks to 3 months. Now, I mean, some people know this, like if you ever broke a bone, you ever break your arm, they're like, you'll be in the cast for 6 weeks. Do you have some movement after about 3 to 4 weeks? Probably, but the tissues are still tender. It takes another full year for the neural structure to really ramp up and, make the new pathways. So the tissues take linear time. And this is a part of what was happening. Okay, so what do you have? What do you feel are chronic things that run in your family? Well, to kind of help you with this, I actually created a little small presentation that I think will kind of explain it and where my inspiration was coming from. Okay. So my inspiration was my big fat Greek wedding. But we're going to have a topic here. What are we burying inside ourself? Okay. There's a lot of stuff that's buried. And I was getting a song too, like, uncry these tears, you know, take back the pain. Oh, it's that kind of song, right? I'll find the song. I'm going to post it on my community tab. But what are you burying inside? So my inspiration was I started thinking about my big fat Greek wedding, where you have several generations of females in the house, right? And it's like a multi-generational situation. And boy, is that ever topical now, right? Because people came, people left war-torn countries, okay? But let's put it this way. If you were in a past life and you were sick, or you were an invalid, or you were elder, or you were a widow, or you were grieving or something, right? Or you had a mental illness, guess what? You were kind of like shunted aside. You weren't exactly shunned, but you had no life. Any of your emotions frozen. You don't get to express emotion. You can't. Who are you going to tell? Did you get therapy? You going to go complain to your boss, complain to your grown kids who are housing you? I mean, nobody had that luxury. And not that therapy is a luxury, but like it would have been considered highly self-indulgent, right? So you're frozen in time. You're frozen in your emotions. Hell of a lot of frozen, buried emotions, buried in grief. Okay, you could grieve for yourself. It's okay to grieve for yourself. Like, what if you were married to a person arranged into a marriage and then they died? And then what happens? You get no life because they died. You don't get to go out and have an affair, find a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. I mean, everyone in the neighborhood would talk about you. And this happens. And I grew up in that kind of neighborhood. And my Busha, I mean, she didn't like her drama was baiting her 5 sons. She found ways to get all that little snarkiness in. So, not good, not healthy, highly toxic. And we need to move you out of there because that toxic stuff makes people sick. Women have felt trapped, baby trapped, baby trapped by your own pregnancies, your body. How well did you recover? Could you recover? Did you have postpartum depression? Did you have menopausal issues? Did you have, things that would erode your bones? Women are still having these things. I mean, this is highly emotional, it's highly physical, it's spiritual. It hits us on multiple levels. Are you stuck cooking and babysitting just because you're a widow? Okay, like really think about it. So here's Yaya, right? And she's got these wartime flashbacks of when the Turks invaded the Greeks. And she can't even recognize her son, right? Her mind is back years, decades ago, and she's like, listen up, you ugly Turk, you're not kidnapping me. So we have themes of kidnapping, war, deprivation, probably little to eat, right? Is she bitter? Does she have grief? Does she have no prospects? Or do people gossip? Will they gossip? You have no voice of your own, and this has happened in every culture on earth. Doesn't matter if you're from an Asian culture, a South American culture, a European culture, an American culture. People think these things don't happen in, parts of the America. They do, okay? Because people are still people. And we have emotional interactions. We have emotional cords to each other. That's what I specialize in, is unplugging these emotional cords. So let's move along here, okay? Are you and will you be content to just serve others? That's not really what you're here for. You're here to pull in the love that the planet needs, okay? You're here to really be superwoman and do what your light body is designed to do. You have a divine design for a specific purpose so that it's easy. So that simply by, you know, when you come together, you're reinforcing your force field. You attract the things that you need and you deflect the things you don't want. But we got to get you healthy first. We got to get you out of these chronic things. Can you let other people bury your own life? Okay, that happens. A lot of people sublimate their own desires. They talk themselves out of it. They've talked themselves out of their own journey. They're sublimating it into like things like astrology and numbers, and like, yeah, that could be significant. It might help you along your way. Not the same as a good hug. It's not the same as human interactions. It's a thing of the mind. It's a construct for you to kind of make sense of some of the things, the energies, the interactions, the what to do about it. But I'm encouraging you, please do not become where you are like a two-dimensional, non-playable character in your own life. You ever see these video games where there's like pedestrians roaming around and people just hit them with the car because, hey, it's an NPC. You don't get a choice. Well, guess what? You do. You have a voice. You get a choice. Here's another thing that Yaya did. And you can say Yaya, Busha, Grandma, Nona, whatever name works in your culture or how you grew up. But are you forced to live vicariously through others? Here she is remembering the possibility of a life she might have had there been love, had there maybe not been a war, had there been other people. And, she's having fun for a moment. You're intended to have fun for the rest of your life. So let's talk a little bit about, what does this really pertain to? I will tell you, chronic illness, okay? Things that have been viruses that maybe couldn't be identified, that now we can address it with your light body. Things that maybe were, caused by other people that made you sick or ill or damaged or injured for the rest of your life. All these wounds from other people, people didn't understand the long-term effects, like how it really affects you. Your soul does. Your soul and your higher self know, hey, we can't let you carry that garbage with you. Okay? Please go to Patricia, let her help you get this out. So what illnesses or chronic conditions could not be addressed when you were this person, okay? So like if we look at this person that I found a photo of, what did she breathe? Maybe she was in the war years ago and they used like some chemical warfare or gas, or maybe she worked in a factory. Maybe she was a long-term smoker. Why anyone, especially people who've had ancestors as slaves, why anyone would smoke and support those companies is beyond me. That is one of the hardest addictions to ever get rid of. But we find a way because your light body wants you healthy. That's you. It's your higher self working through with proper guidance. And yes, I'm a prototyper. Don't believe for a minute I didn't breathe a hell of a lot of secondhand smoke since the time of being a baby, even though I never smoked. If you smoked, guess what? Damage is there. Even if they have early screenings, the detox is really hard. And that's what we get you through. Because it didn't happen overnight, it's not going to go out overnight. What did you eat? Did you have sufficient nutrition? How about this one? Did you give your food to the men? Were you forced to give the food to the men? Were you forced to give some occupying soldiers, even if it was your own team? Did you have to give them all your crops, your food, and then you got like very little to eat? This is a story of a lot of peasants everywhere. And some have elevated it to an art form. I mean, I'm Polish. I mean, some of the things that my grandparents would eat, they would eat all kinds of stuff. I don't even want to say it because I know some people really don't want to hear it. But, as children, we were like kind of in this in between, like the generations where we would say, okay, they like that kind of lunch meat. Okay, doesn't appeal. We didn't grow up with it. We grew up with a little bit more abundance. We didn't grow up with like the forms of abundance that are now, that are maybe a little lopsided, but health and abundance have to be balanced. Did you smoke? Did you do things? Did you have to sell your body? Did someone traffic you? I mean, there's forms of that we don't even think about. That now, it's kind of like your soul is saying, hey, all your past lives of war, famine, arranged marriages, idiot men, idiot rulers, little to no money, no medical care. Okay, like, could you really get medical care? Many of us rely on home remedies, like it comes back to us. This is one of the hallmarks of my modality, is to use herbs, teas, essences in the form of essential oils, body movement, opening your channels, expanding your light body, because your light body is capable of a lot more than you might think, especially if you're just looking at things that say you have only 7 chakras. You're far beyond it by now, far beyond it. So it's time to pick up the pace. You are on the clock, okay? That means that, what I mean with this, it's like the spring is coming, okay? The season is changing. There is a time schedule for this. You are actually in a time compression and acceleration if you're experiencing some of this stuff. I went through it very swiftly. Was it painful? Yes. Was it uncomfortable? Yes. Was I exasperated? Oh, hell yeah. Was I sitting there saying, now what? Okay, and you could be saying those things, but I'm here to help you through it very expediently, very efficiently. Because if you were to see the scope of it, how many lifetimes it got repeated, and you get to fix that thing in about 2 months, that is a miracle, okay? May not be the miracle you want, but I'm here with my magic wand, ready to magic wand you for the next 6 weeks in my webinar class. So, who are you really? Are you the elder decrepit person? Okay, are you going through the phase and you're going to do nothing and you're going to prolong the agony? Or are you ready and willing and able to be strong and vibrant, rejuvenated, elevated, higher vibrational than you really ever thought? And let me tell you why. You know, you have strength based upon the stamina that you have built up life after life after life for being here. This is a really dense place with a lot of stuff people are dumping off. Okay. A lot of mentalities, a lot of things people need to heal. It's a lot of fun too. This is a very fun place. There's a lot of adventure to be had, and it can be a whole different thing when you feel good. And this is the key, is that you want to look at it as I am becoming healthy so we can be together, unified, strengthening each other, not being depleted, not having your energy siphoned out. Do you have reserves of strength? Are you capable of transforming? I can tell you you are. Just like the actress depicted in My Big Fat Greek Wedding. She went from being kind of, mousy, kind of dowdy, kind of erasing herself to being like vibrant. Her hair looked better, her eyes looked better. She got her contact lenses, like she did what she could within her means as depicted in the film, because it was a film. And when she did that, guess what came knocking? Love. Okay. So, yeah, capable of transforming. Are you prudent and not negligent? Okay. Are you squandering your resources on things that are not really going to help your light body? And think about that for a minute. Like, okay, think about it. Are you ready to ascend? So, ascending means your light body kind of expands and begins to lift you and move you away, up and away. That's ascension. Happens with the light body. A magical spaceship is not going to land and take you off to some cosmic place. Okay, you're here to do this down to the molecules of your body, which I call, yes, it's your God particles. So you have persisted through this time to be able to address such things properly. Okay, how would you like to be able to say goodbye to your medicine? How would you like to be able to say, hey, diabetes runs in my family, but I'm the leader in my family. I did the things to jumpstart the neural plexus to be able to avoid it and be moderate. And it feels natural and it feels good. And I can enjoy things. Because with some of these chronic illnesses come a whole other subset of symptoms and emotional feelings. People who are diabetic, they can be very moody. They don't feel okay. They don't feel energetic. They can feel crabby. They can feel irritable, depressed. Chronic depression of any of your organs can feel like depression. And it may not be depression like it's emotional depression, but you feel it anyway. Are you ready to let me help you unleash the power of your new light body, your new chakras that I've been prototyping? I hope so. So even though I hope so, I would say this. Number one, you're here to do this. If you were awakened, there's sort of this higher level agreement for you to incarnate into the situations that you can overcome and conclude that karma. So there's actually a threefold thing happening here. The first part is conclude the karma, which means that things come up to be dealt with. And that means either healed, it's not comfortable, it's very noticeable, you feel like purging, you start purging, and like your body wants to get rid of it. And it literally feels like that. You feel like, oh my God, I've hit the wall. How do I rise above and keep moving along here? I teach you that with your light body, through your light body. Number two, it takes some getting used to. I call that acclimation. And I'm going to be teaching that in my 6-week class that's coming up. Okay. You get 6 weeks to really learn this and become really good. I mean, feel good. Feel good get a handle on it. You're going to find it's very, very different. Okay, you're getting used to it, but here's something to really consider. Once you activate, there's two people's energies. You're holding the energy of each other. You got your energy, you got the energy of some past stuff, you got the energy of your higher selves, you've got your stuff, your past, your ancestors, and their stuff that you're going to feel a percentage of it. Do you feel all of it? No, they have to address some of theirs. That's really hard for people to actually believe that they're like not doing all of it for and behalf of their twin. I'm going to say this to you. Instead of letting your mind wander and say, like, well, what are they doing? Or are they doing their part or something? Just do the work and start getting the results of doing the twin flame body work. Okay? Because that is going to help you glean much more than your mind can fathom. The ego mind sort of is limited. It doesn't mean that you're not intelligent. It doesn't mean that you aren't getting certain things. It's just that you get so much more. You get deeper, you get higher. You can see things and not take it on blind faith because you're seeing things up here. And so the other thing, the third thing, okay, so we've got comes up to be healed, you get used to it and you acclimate. And then what's the next thing? You feel the love pour in. In other words, you feel the healing taking hold. You feel transformed. You feel that you've somehow overcome this, or you've somehow been able to avoid some of the chronic things, some of the, just ickier things. Okay. And this could be everything from metabolic, reproductive, this is why I've designed my modality in a certain way to start taking you through it so that the very first part is open and expand, get the channel open. When we get the channel open, what occurs next is this, okay? Where you need it, that's where the love flows. The love flows where it needs to go. And this is hard to believe because this is why higher self meditations, higher self reliance, where you're creating that, and there's sort of this two-way communicate, a true communion of your soul, which is why I call it communing. It's not telepathy. It's not just, it's beyond meditation. You are in communion with your soul. And this is why your soul has determined the sequence, not me. My job is to help you interpret, open, acclimate, heal, seal it up so we don't want any recurrences, and keep you moving. Now, for people that they don't do this, or they're like, I don't get it, right? You're going to have another opportunity in the fall, but I would say this. Take the leap of faith, join us, and get going on it, okay? Give yourself an honest chance for the results to occur, okay? There it is, okay? So this is a part of this Venus retrograde energy. The big push for the feminine was, I would say, last July, just prior to the Lion's Gate, were the push to get you healthy, things that have to do with your money relationships, your career relationships, your love life, relationships, and all the other things that go with it, your family, your kids or future kids or past kids. Maybe you're a grandparent. Okay. How would you like to prototype some of the changes for people you actually care about? How would you like to? I call it, for me, it's been sort of standing in as proxy for some of the things. Do I care about my mother? Yes, we had a lot of healing. It always felt like I never should turn my back on her, although I know it's very popular out there for people to be like, oh, my parents are toxic. Guess what? I talk to people who are parents and their kids are treating them that way. And sometimes They themselves will see how their parents were toxic. Your parents couldn't help the culture they grew up in. They couldn't help the timeline or the generation they grew up in. They couldn't get the medical help. They couldn't get the therapy. They couldn't get the different boss or the different job or the different house or a house. Okay. Energy is transformative in the highest sense, but it's making us look at your past. It's making us look at your past lives. I welcome the questions. When we're in the webinar, we do live Q&A, okay? For women, I always include things that have to do with our cycles, because no matter where you're at, you're going to find that you're feeling affected by lunar energy. It just is that way because of these alignments. So I hope to hear from you. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like and share it. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye.